Hello guys, welcome to part 4 of the series. So we are still in Maya. I was pinning the model all around and checking from every angle to see if there's anything I could fix or change while we were still in Maya. So now we've moved into Blender. So we are no more in Maya, we've done all that we can in Maya. And the major reason why we are using Blender now, or why we ever used Maya in the first place, is because the Maya is more of an industry standard, and I only started using Maya about a year ago. But I've been using Blender for 4 years now, so there are just some things I am more comfortable doing in Blender than I am in Maya. For example, now the main reason why we are moving into Blender now is because we want to model some chains connecting the nose ring to the earring and some chains around the neck. And I just better know how to do this in Maya, but in Blender rather. But I have no idea how to do them in Maya. And another major reason why we are moving into Blender is because anybody who has used both Blender and Maya can confirm that UV mapping in Blender is just way more easier than in Maya. So that's why we've moved into Blender now, so that we can do the rest of the modeling and then UV map immediately for texturing. So yeah, you can see me placing the curve that would control the chain that will be connecting the nose ring to the earring. So for this, I'll be using two modifiers, an array modifier and the curve modifier. So the curve that I will use for the curve modifier is what you see me placing right now. So here I had imported a set of chain links I modeled some time ago that I had saved that as a library. So that I like to advise that when you model with reusability in mind, model with the mind that you might want to use this again sometimes later. So whenever I model something that I think might be of use again in future, I just save it out as a separate Blender file, which I have them in folders that I just put them library, and I just put reusable meshes in those folders. So I always try to do that once in a while. So yeah, you can see me UV unwrapping the chain link, because the way the array modifier works, it's basically just creates instances of the first mesh that you plug into the modifier. So, and the way instances work, instances create it just creates meshes that share the same attributes as the first mesh. So things like a UV map, which shares it. So that's why when trying to work with the array modifier, the mesh you be feeding to the modifier, try to UV unwrap it, so that way the other instances that be created to be UV unwrapped. So that reduces your work while you try UV mapping. Because if you wait till after you've applied the modifier before you begin UV unwrapping, that is just more work you're giving yourself. So unwrap one link now, and the remaining links automatically have UVs on them. So here I begin attaching the modifiers to the mesh. First the array modifier, then you adjust the offset to the right direction. Then you add the curve modifier. Switch the fit type on the curve modifier to fit curve, and then your curve, select your curve. But the way the curve modifier works is that for it to work, the object and the curve must have their origin at the same point. So once you just select your curve, the array snaps right to the curve. And what makes this method quite superb is that even when as you edit the curve, the chain links updates immediately, automatically. So it's quite intuitive. So and anywhere you see any sort of warping or bending or skewing, all you have to do is just add more points to the curve, and it, it will be adjusted. So here I initially wanted to use the curves method again for the uh, chain coming down from the edge to the forehead. But then since it wasn't repeating chain links like the one we did for the chain connecting the nose ring to the ear, but since I'll be using different links and adding the gems I modeled into it, I chose to place the gems and the links by hand. Like I made mention of earlier, here you can see me using the sculpting tool in Blender again for moving a large number of polygons all at the same time. Yeah, I think it was in part 3 that I made mention of that. So while recording, my recording software stopped working without me realizing it. So nothing major has changed. I only went ahead to model the rest of the chain, so the methods described before, and I also modeled the sandals and I began UV mapping them. So I finished UV mapping the sandals. So one of the major ideas behind cutting seams is that you want to hide the seams as much as you can. That is why when cutting your seams, you cut the seams in places that are not easily visible, like inside the palms, under the feet, um, in the inside part of the thighs and the inside part of the arms. So the major idea is just to hide the seams as much as you can, because sometimes errors occur at seams, and if the seams are hidden well enough, there will not be too much of an issue. Here you can see me deleting the inner faces on my mesh to reduce polygon count since they won't be visible to the camera anyway. One thing that I've noticed that helps quite a lot when unwrapping in Blender is to apply your scale by pressing Ctrl A and scale. Because by doing that, the sizes of the UV islands are determined in relation to what the size of that particular mesh is in the 3D space. So when you apply your scale in Blender, it helps Blender to easily calculate the relative scales of the UV islands to one another. So based on the principle of hiding your seams as much as you can see me here initially cutting the seams for the edge at the back of the head to hide them, since the back of the head is less thin than the front of the head. Then I changed my mind again and then erased the seams and just unwrapped them like that, so as to eliminate having a seam at all in the first place. So since our chain links have already been UV mapped, yeah, UV unwrapped rather, you remember that in the beginning of this part, I unwrapped the starting mesh that was then instanced by the curve and the array modifiers. So that's where every instance that was created by the array modifiers to already had been UV unwrapped by inheritance. So that's where it has made unwrapping the chains easy, because all I was doing now was just selecting the links and then moving them into separate UV islands. So at this stage, all of our meshes have already been UV mapped, unwrapped rather. So all I was just doing now was organizing my workspace and naming all the meshes appropriately. So that will be all for this part, guys. Catch you all in part 5, which will be the last part for this series, where I will take you through my texturing process using the skin texture I painted for R as a case study. So catch you all in part 5. Have a great day.